Good morning. Good morning, students. And welcome to this lecture once again. Today we'll be looking into the characteristics of Montessori education. The characteristics of Montessori education. Number one, classroom that include children of different ages. We are considering the characteristics of Montessori education. And I say number one, the classroom that include children of different ages. A Montessori classroom has children of different ages in the same classroom. That means a child of 3 years being in a class with a child of 4, 5. So the Montessori classroom has children of different ages in the same classroom. This gives the younger children the opportunity to learn by emulating children who are older than them. The younger children watch their older ones. They copy how to participate in the classroom. They copy them how to participate in the classroom learning activities and how to engage with their teacher and their peers, and how to move from one activity to another. So it helps the younger children to emulate from the older children, since the classes contain mixed ages. And then the older children also benefit from the younger children by exercising their leadership skills to the younger ones. So they also benefit by being able to exercise their leadership skills. You know, younger children, they like to control the older ones like to control the younger ones. So they guide them, they care for them, and they control them. They also reinforce them by using rewards and punishments. They reward them. If they do well, they will reward them. If they don't do well, they punish them. So that is number one character. Two, an environment that emphasizes responsibility and self-discipline. An environment that emphasizes responsibility and self-discipline. The environment of Montessori emphasizes child-centered education. The environment of Montessori emphasizes child-centered education. As a child engages in this approach, that is child-centered approach, he tends to discover his own path to learning. It helps children to be responsible. That is, to settle down on their own and carry out their class activities on their own. Also, in the area of being responsible, they can also help the younger ones in the class with all the struggles. They'll be able to tackle the struggles in their learning experience. So the environment emphasizes responsibility and self-discipline. This is an approach of self-centered. That is, the first needs and interest of the child is what the Montessori education is based on. So in the area of being self-discipline, a child is allowed to choose an activity of his own, the activity of his own choice, and then he explores the activity and develop new knowledge from what he or she is exploring, and also obeying the stipulated rules and regulation which is being enforced, which is being stipulated and enforced by the teacher. They have to obey because it is being stipulated and being enforced by the teacher. Not only the teacher, even the older ones enforce them to make sure that they obey the rules and the regulations of the class. In so doing, the child naturally gains self-discipline. Number 3, a curriculum that emphasizes independence. Another characteristic of Montessori education, a curriculum that emphasizes independence. Montessori education emphasizes and inculcates indisciplined spirit in the life of the learners. It emphasizes and inculcates indisciplined spirit in the life of the learner by the way they are being allowed to choose any material of their own choice. They explore it independently on their own pace and discover new knowledge from it. So this helps to instill the spirit of independence in the learner. Sometimes in the exploring of the activities, they might make mistake in the process of exploring it. But that alone trains them more to be independent, because after they have been corrected, they gain mastery of that knowledge or that activity. So they are being allowed to take any material from the shelf, the one that is their choice. They sit down gently on their own independently and study on their own pace. They don't compete with another person. They study on their own pace and try to discover things by themselves, even if they find difficulties which they can be corrected by the teacher or the older ones. They will get more understanding, mastery of that. Another one is number 4, an orderly classroom with prepared workstation. An orderly classroom with prepared workstation. In the Montessori classroom, each teacher prepares a wide range of learning activities. The teacher prepares a wide range of learning activities. Before children arrives, they have prepared wide range of learning activities before the children arrive. During the work cycle in the Montessori classroom, children independently choose one of these learning activities to pursue during the classroom. Then the children are given uninterrupted work period of time to complete their work and return the material back to the shelves. In Montessori education, uninterrupted work period means free choice time. Uninterrupted work period in Montessori education means free work time. So within this period, children are meant to successfully complete their work without interruption, without roaming about in the classroom. They all pay attention to the study of the material which they have chosen. At the workstation, work can be designed by the teacher for the learners to work as a group, or it can be done, the work can be carried out independently, or as a group. Another characteristics of Montessori education is number 5, a teacher who guides rather than directs. A teacher who guides rather than directs. In a Montessori classroom, you will not see a teacher at the front of the class teaching, just like in the traditional schools. In a Montessori classroom, you will not see a teacher at the front of the class teaching. The focus of Montessori class is on the learner, people, or students Montessori class. The focus of the Montessori class is on the learner or pupils or students and not on the teacher. So the focus is on the learner, or you say pupils or students, not on the teacher. The focus, that is why it says child-centered approach or method. So the focus is on the pupils or students or learners and not the teacher. So the teacher are just there to give the students information. They just give the information and then guide them and then support them in their learning experiences. And they must respond to every individual. They must respond to the individual in all their difficult learning time. The teachers must guide them. That is their major work, and not to stand in the front of the classroom to teach. The most work of the teacher in Montessori school is to design the learning activities. That is the most work, to design the learning activities, which the learners will be carrying out as they arrive in the classroom. They will design it perfectly and thoroughly, and then encourage them to learn, and then guiding them in every stage of their learning activities. That is the most work, to design the activities students are going to learn, and then make sure that they are being guided to carry out the work, the activities perfectly. Number 6, parents who understand and support the learning process. Parents who understand and support the learning process and who are involved in their teachers' education. Number 6, parents who understand and support the learning process and who are involved in their learning, in their child's education. Montessori education gives parents the opportunity to come into the classroom to observe and interact with their children in their classroom. They allow them to come to the classroom and observe them and interact with them, even play with them, sing with them, dance with them. This only is enough to boost the interest of the children. It is enough to boost the interest of the children in their learning experiences. So it makes them to be interested. They will see that the teachers, their daddy and their mom are very friendly with these teachers. So they see environment very freely, very harmonic, peaceful, and this is enough to make them to enjoy the learning and then be successful academically. So the parents have been allowed into the classroom of the Montessori, unlike traditional schools where the parents at the gate, they have collected everything from you. You will never even see the classroom. Talk of to play with the children in their classes. Number 7, an atmosphere of mutual respect an atmosphere of mutual respect. An atmosphere of mutual respect. The teachers respect each child by giving each child an opportunity to explore the material of his or her own choice. So the teacher also respects the children, not only child is respecting the teacher also respects the children by giving them the opportunity to go to the shelf, choose and pick the material of their choice, and then sit down on their seats and learn and explore whatsoever that interests them. And the children also respect their teachers. The teachers also teach the young ones, the learners, to respect the elders, respect the parents, respect the teachers. So they are being taught how to respect. So these are the characteristics of Montessori education. It's number one, classroom that involves children of different ages. Two, an environment that emphasizes responsibility and self-discipline. Three, a curriculum that emphasizes independence. Four, an orderly classroom with prepared workstation. Number five, a teacher who guides rather than directs. A teacher who guides rather than directs. Six, parents who understand and support the learning process and who are involved in their child's education. Seven, an atmosphere of mutual respect. Then we move into the benefits of Montessori education. Montessori education has many benefits. One, it encourages cooperative play. It encourages cooperative play. Montessori encourages cooperative play. The teacher does not run. The teacher does not run the Montessori classroom, but the learner or the students. It is not the teacher that runs the Montessori classroom, but the learners, the students. How do I mean? We have in a class age classroom where we have a child of 3, 4, 5 will be in one class. In another class, a child of 6, 7, 8 in the same class, and the older ones are there to guide, control the stronger ones. They are there to control and guide the younger ones. So whether the teacher is there or not, there is freedom, there is quietness, there is peace, there is harmony in the class, because it is not equal age that is in the class. It's a mixed class. So the teacher does not run the Montessori learners. They guide the activities they do throughout the day. The learners guide the activities they do throughout the day. This encourages them to share and work cooperatively to explore the various stations in the class. They work cooperatively to explore the various stations in the classroom. The learners cooperate actively among themselves to make sure that they explore the activities and make success academically. Number two, learning is child-centered. Learning is child-centered, not teacher-centered. The learning is based on the child. So learning is child-centered. That means that Montessori education is designed around the specific needs and abilities of the learner. The curriculum of Montessori education is designed around the specific needs and abilities of the learner, not the teacher. So what they are being taught is based on the specific needs and abilities of the learner. This helps them to explore and learn at their own pace. They walk, each individual walk at their own pace. Another benefit, children naturally learn self-discipline. Children in Montessori education naturally learn self-discipline. Montessori education allows children to choose activities of their own interests and explore it independently to discover new knowledge. And obeying ground rules. There are rules that is being stipulated and enforced by the teacher in each classroom. So that they're exploring activities, they have certain rules which they must obey. During the interrupted period of learning, they are expected to settle down with the activities and exploit and learn something new from that activity. So Montessori education allows children to choose activities of their own interest and explore it independently to discover new knowledge and obeying ground rules, which follows each activity. And these ground rules are consistently enforced by the teacher and the older students. The older students that are there to exercise their leadership skills. Children like to control the small ones. If you give them canes, beat them. So this environment naturally teaches them self-discipline. Naturally, they will learn self-discipline by settling down independently, exploring activities of their choice, and discovering and learning more knowledge from it. Another benefit of Montessori education, classroom environment teaches order. Classroom environment teaches order. All objects and materials the children make use of have precise or specific locations on the shelf. All the materials they explore with, they learn with, all of them have a specific location. So as the child, the time for them to learn, they quietly move to the shelf, collect the one of their choice, and as the time is over, they quietly, in the same manner, go to the shelf and return it. So they are, so all this they practice in the classroom helps to inculcate orderliness. It helps to inculcate orderliness in the lives of these children. In the morning, they see that their teacher have arranged their activities in order. Of course, they follow the same footsteps of the teacher. When they finish, they move back to the same shelf and return it the same way they find it, they took it. It is inculcating that orderliness spirit in them. So that is another benefit of Montessori education. So all these are the benefits. Benefits, I say, it encourages cooperative play. 2, learning is child-centered. 3, children naturally learn self-discipline. 4, classroom environment teaches order, and the rest of them. Quickly, let's move to the Advantages and disadvantages of Montessori education. Advantages and disadvantages. I say the pros and the cons of Montessori education. Montessori education is beneficial, it has advantages. Also, it has disadvantages. We shall be considering them one after the other.
Mrs. Etengozi, please unmute. Oh, you're online, but please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You've muted yourself again. Mute yourself, Mrs. Etengozi.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Okay,
Yes,
let's continue.
yes,
I said, yeah, I can hear me. I said advantages and disadvantages of Montessori education, but I want to give you an assignment. Please state, number one, state and explain 5 advantages of Montessori education. State and explain 5 advantages of Montessori education, and 2, state and explain 3 disadvantages of Montessori education. Please, I'll be fast. setengoscecilia@gmail.com. One advantage of Montessori education, it provides hands-on learning. It provides hands-on learning. It gives the learners the opportunity to practice, design, and construct the learning experiences. Hands-on learning, when the teacher is teaching, the children have the material with them, they're practicing whatever the teacher is demonstrating to them. 2, enhance social interaction. Montessori enhance social interaction. Montessori education provides this by grouping children of different age groups together in a classroom. It aims to develop peer-to-peer groups. It helps them to communicate effectively and interact among themselves. 3, learning environment. The Montessori learning environment is free, fun, and interesting. It is very free, it is very fun and interesting. The younger children tend to develop their social communication and emotional skills. They develop it here. while the older ones also develop their leadership skills. They like to control the younger ones. Number 4, it develops soft skills. It develops soft skills. Another advantage, it develops soft skills. Some of these soft skills are responsibilities, independence, fairness, adaptabilities, and positivity. Some of these soft skills are responsibilities, independence, fairness, adaptability, and positivity. Positivity. Montessori education stated that allowing children to describe the ways they spend time in their classroom helps them to be self-independent in future as they sit down on their own work and explore independently. It helps them to be self-dependent in future, not going to exam, looking at where to copy. They have learned it from their childhood. Number 5, it provides independence. It provides independence. It offers children a sense of confidence and creativity that develop knowledge and skills among them. The children explore things, it creates what? Confidence, creativity in them. This makes them to be more competent when you compare them with other children in other schools that practice another method. When you compare them, you see that these ones are more competent. So these are the advantages. Let's quickly go to disadvantages of Montessori education. Disadvantage of Montessori education: 1, it is expensive. It is expensive. Montessori education is very expensive. It's very expensive. The learning materials they make use of in the classroom, along with the lengthy and the thorough training in the use of such materials for these young children, is an expensive undertaking. The materials they make use of is very expensive. Even to train the children to make use of it is another expensive undertaking. When you talk about the environment of Montessori, it is very what? Spacious. And that involves what? Money. It involves money. And these are the things that makes Montessori education, that is the school fees, to be very exorbitant, very expensive. When you talk about the colorful classroom, that is the building must be painted, Montessori must be painted with gloss paint, not emotional paint. You know, gloss paint is very expensive. It must be decorated with different colors. It must look attractive, and the flowers inside, everything makes the Montessori system, Montessori education, to be very expensive. That is number 1 disadvantage of Montessori education. 2, independence is not always helpful. Independence is not always helpful. Independence is not always helpful. It's always developed in children a sense of freedom and self-guided learning. These children, some of them, because of the freedom they enjoy in Montessori, some of them now have sense of freedom without measure and self-guided learning. You can see some of these children, they begin to dictate to their parents, this is what they want to do, this is what they want to do. They don't want to take instruction from the parents again, not all, but most of them. So the independence is not always helpful in the life of all the children. Some goes extra mile of freedom. That's another disadvantage of Montessori. And the third one, there is not enough opportunity. There is not enough opportunity. There is not enough opportunity. The period of interaction in Montessori school is not enough compared with traditional school because their period of interaction is planned. Their period of interaction is planned and structured. Once they are in that period, no interruption from anybody. Every child is meant to concentrate and explore the activities which he have chosen by himself or herself to explore, and must discover a new knowledge from that activity. So there is not much opportunity for all this interaction like compared to other traditional schools where every time play all over. Their own is so much limited, is not enough. And that is where we shall be calling it a day. Next week, move to what is a Montessori school. Move to Montessori school, explore on it. God bless you. Please remember to submit your assignment. Submit assignment to selfdiscipline@gmail.com. Number one, state and explain 5 advantages of Montessori education. And number two, state and explain 3 disadvantages of Montessori education to Cecilia@gmail.com. God bless you. Bye.